Hello, dear fellow pilots, and welcome to the German Sky Alliance Dispatch Center. My name is Alex, I'm PR officer at German Sky Alliance, and today I want to show you how to plan a flight correctly with Pfpx. So, let's start. Pfpx, or also known as Professional Flight Planner X, is a $50 tool published by Aerosoft and developed by FlightSimSoft. Okay, so to start, we first have to add an aircraft to our aircraft database. We go to Aircraft Manager, Aircraft Database, click it. Now you want to click on New. This small window will pop up. The first field it wants us to enter is the registration. Every aircraft has a registration, just like a car has a number plate. Type it in here. The next field is tail number. The tail number is the last two letters of the registration, typically. Now the next field is the aircraft type. I'm gonna fly the 737-800. Next field are the engines. For the 737-800 there is only one possibility. Next three fields are basically set your weights, your length, and your altitude units. Now the next fields, you have to consult your add-ons manual. So, our maximum takeoff weight is here. Our maximum ramp weight is the same as our maximum taxi weight. Maximum landing weight. Passenger capacity is correct, I think. Maximum zero fuel weight. And for the empty weight, I can't find a proper number in the manual. Okay, sorry. Now, next paragraph are the speed schedules. Here in the climb, you can basically what you see is the aircraft is going to accelerate to 250 knots in the climb, then to 280, and then in the cruise it will have Mach 78. The next one is the cruise section, and it wants you to put a cost index. Cost index is... oh, I thought you had to put in CI. So, all German Sky Alliance airlines, so German Sky, Sky Airlines, Borajet, Chandan Air, and Azor Air, they are all using a figure between 23 and 25. Basically, the higher the number, the more fuel the airplane will burn, but the flight will be faster. So I'm gonna use 23 for this purpose. Now the descent figure, you should actually watch out that you have the same Mach number as in the climb, otherwise the airplane will accelerate and then decelerate. This is not good. The diversion speed schedule is basically the same, but now it's for diverting. Basically just mirror the settings you had in the default speed schedule. Next are performance adjustments. Here I would recommend you not to change anything but the last step. This is basically the distance from the destination airport until your last step climb. So my last step climb would be 500 miles before destination. Now here you have the planning section. This is basically not important, as we are flying a pretty small aircraft today. The alternate airport planning, make sure you set civil airports. The runway length and ceiling and visibility is okay, but I would select 1300 for visibility. This is just additional, and this last section is the performance tool. This is pretty interesting for those of you who have TopCat, but to keep this simple, I'm gonna leave that out for now. Next tab is gonna be equipment and configuration. So this is the weight category of the airliner. Now I'm gonna edit some weight numbers now into the screen, and so you know what weight class your aircraft is. The weight class is basically determined by the maximum takeoff weight. The 737 is medium. Now for the next, you have the transponder mode. Now the 737 uses squawk mode Sierra, so L is okay. ADS capability is not important. Basically, it's realistic if you set that, but I can't explain. The equipment code is pretty important. Now, the 737 has everything to meet Category E. So, we have DME, we have a flight management system, and we have position updating. So, let's set this. The operator is German Sky today. Let me just enter the ICAO. If I enter this. So operator today is German Sky, just to make it short. Now the configuration is basically to adjust the weights so that you have, for example, a high density class, so more people could fit the aircraft. Now, the ETOPS tab is not important for us today, as our aircraft is not certified for ETOPS. Aircraft remarks, if you are a dispatcher, you could put any remarks in here, but I don't have to. Now you could click save, save aircraft, and apply. Now let's get started. To plan a new flight, you click on New here. The Flight tab will open, and you will get to enter some basic figures. So today we are flying a flight from Frankfurt to Sofia in Bulgaria. Now, short disclaimer, I use Pfpx without a server description. I can't afford it, and I don't see the advantages in having a server subscription, but if you decide to have one, go for it. Yeah, as well, I use ActiveSky for the weather, and yeah, that's it. For the disclaimer, let me just load the weather. So this is not correct. Give me a short. So I'm back. I'm gonna load the weather again. Okay, that's it. Now for the flight number, I would recommend you to go to the page flightaware.com. Of course, I will leave every link in the description box below. and I would just copy the flight number from there just to make it a bit more realistic. So 438 is our flight number for today. Our takeoff runway is selected by weather as well as SOPs on the airport. To determine the headwind component, I would recommend you the following formula, as you can see on screen. Now, for this purpose, I'm gonna put it into Google to calculate. So, our wind direction is 060 degrees with 10 knots. So 060. Now let's try runway 07. I have to leave out 0 times 10. We would, oh goodness. How is this even possible? Ah no, I'm so dumb. Wind is coming from 60 degrees, so it's basically pointing into 240. Now we have an almost 10 knot headwind. So we would use runway 07 center. I know the SOPs in Frankfurt, so I know 07 center. As well, you may have to take a look at runway closures, but as far as I know, there are no runway closures in Frankfurt. So in Sofia, the wind is variable at 02 knots, but I know that they use runway 27. For the taxi out and taxi in times, I have brought to you two, let me just close this, two Excel files. First we have the taxi out times. In this list, we would search Frankfurt, which is Echo Delta Delta Foxtrot here, and you have to take a look at the second last second last line, I think it's called, because this is the median, so that's an approximate time for the taxi. So back to Pfpx, we would enter 13 minutes. And for the taxi in, I have another document. Now let's search Lima Bravo Sierra Foxtrot. I think I'm already past it. Here's Sofia. It's exactly 5 minutes, so this figure is correct. For the commercial flight number, leave it out. This is unimportant for us today. As we are flying through active FIRs, we are a scheduled air type. Now for the time of departure, we have it 10 to 9 in the morning local, so that's 10 to 8. And yeah, I'm gonna fly this at 12 Zulu. Now the arrival time, if you enter that, that's pretty unrealistic, because if you enter only the departure time, you will get the estimated en route time as well. I found this figure to be pretty accurate, so yeah. Now, if you have everything set up correctly when you entered your aircraft, you shouldn't have too much to bother with in this section, except for maybe at the optimum altitude without altitude restrictions, and I wouldn't step climb on this short flight. So select this to no. Now for the optimization, we have nothing to bother with. Now for the payload section, you could either enter 0 fuel weight, but to make it realistic, just click the random button here. This will give you automatic figures. We are close to maximum. So yeah. Now for the fuel, we are a European carrier flying in Europe, so we would use EU Ops. If you want a tutorial on these fuel policies, you could just drop a like and maybe leave a comment or even subscribe. So for the extra time, I want to have about 20 minutes because Frankfurt is a pretty big airport. If you'd like to, you could as well enter an exact figure of fuel in this extra fuel section. Hold time, I would always enter 15 minutes because you don't know, but Sofia is a small aircraft, so we don't really expect holding. Taxi fuel was entered automatically. Now, if you want the APU to run throughout the flight, tick this, but obviously you don't want to. The ballast fuel is basically fuel you take to meet the minimum weight requirements, but as we are close to the maximum, we don't need that. Contingency time, yeah, that's on your discretion, but I would use 45 minutes just in case we meet runway closure. If you'd like to, you could as well enter the exact fuel figure. Now, tankering fuel is basically, let me just explain on this example. If we would fly from Frankfurt to Sofia and from Sofia back, and Sofia would sell the fuel for just abnormal prices, or it doesn't sell fuel at all, we would take tankering fuel for the flight back as well. But as Sofia's fuel price is okay, we don't have to do that. Remaining fuel is basically how much fuel you want to have remaining at your destination, but we don't want that to enter because this will calculate. Now, for the route, you could take, you can make up your own, or you can click onto find and upper airspace. But I found this figure to make some pretty strange routes, so we will just take the route from Flightaware. I don't find any. Let me just take a look. Okay, so I can't find any route on Flightaware, so we would just use this figure. Now, as you can see, we now have a route right here. You can see two distances. This is one time the Great Circle distance. This is basically the direct to distance, and the flight plan distance. This is the distance if you fly along the flight plan. Then you can see a distance increase. Basically, you want to keep this as low as possible. This is a deviation from the route to the direct to route. So let's move on to the alternates. So we need a takeoff alternate. Except for our original takeoff airport. So in this case, I would take, let me just see whether I can find it. No, I can't. So why are these only military? So civil airports, yeah. I will take Frankfurt Hahn. Has a pretty long runway. This is all good. Now we have to find an en route alternate. For this purpose, I would maybe, I don't know. Let's just find one. And this is basically the great thing about Pfpx. You can have such a great detail, but as well you can have it as simple as possible. So no, this is no en route alternate. Maybe I would take Vienna, but no. Let me just get the range ring again. Right here. Let's just search one. I think we would take Tivat. Tivat is Lima Yankee Tango Victor. Now we got that, and we need a destination alternate for if for some reason we have no possibility to land. So I would take one destination alternate pretty close to the destination, and another one a bit away, because if we have weather around the destination, that does not really it does not give us a possibility to fly in to an airport pretty close. So first let's find one civil again. We would take Plovdiv, and let's get another one. Let's see, what is this airport? No. Let's take Burgas, or we could even take Athens, but no, we would take Burgas. So this is Lima Bravo Golf. As you can see, Pfpx gives us the active runway and a route to our alternate. Now I would go for optimum altitude, and let's enter another hold time of 15 minutes, just in case. Now, when we have this done, we move on to the advanced tab. Redispatch. Now, redispatch is a point in the flight plan where you would decide to land or to shorten the flight plan and land on another airport. But as this is pretty complicated for both the crew and the dispatcher, we will leave that out. ETOPS, again, we are not ETOPS approved, so we don't need this. Speed altitude holding. Right here you can select any holdings you would expect along the route. Now, let me just get our route to destination. Now we would expect a holding at Nisva. So let's enter that. Nisva. Again with the cost index of 23. Altitude we can't enter because we don't know whether we can expect one. And let's get the delay to 15 minutes. This is just a pretty default figure. Flight crew, here you could enter names of pilot in command and first officer. This is pretty cool for shared cockpit, but as I don't do shared cockpit right now, let's leave this out as well. For the remarks, you would, as a dispatcher, you would put in, for example, thunderstorms along the route or turbulence, but we don't really expect this. Maybe we can take a look at it. Let's get turbulence on the map here. So we don't expect turbulence along the road, so we can leave this out. Now, when you're finished, you click onto compute flight. And we will calculate all the stuff. Now right here we have an error. Exceeds maximum ramp weight. So this is not good. So right here we would solve that by going to payload and clicking random again. Now let's compute it again, and let's see whether this gives us an error or not. this does not give us any error, so we would release the flight. And now we can export that if we wanted to as a company route. Just select the aircraft you want, click save, close that window. Now we can as well send it to VATSIM, so finding a flight plan is easier. And we can as well print the flight plan. We could print it to PDF, or we could print it on paper. So this was my tutorial on planning a flight with Pfpx. I hope you enjoyed it, and see you guys in one of our next videos. If you want to share the skies with us, join us. GermanSkyVA.com is the website you want to look at. And if you want other tutorials, for example on ETOPS or fuel policies, just drop a like, leave a comment, and I will have a look at your suggestions. So right now I wish you a great week, and until then, see you in the skies.